Hello, folks. On my way to pick up my paycheck, put that in the bank, and this afternoon I gotta take my cat to the vet. She's been losing weight and camping out the water, and two possibilities is one is hyperactive thyroid, in which case, we could cope with that. I will cope with that. There might be ways to treat that. But it also could be kidney failure, which happens with old cats. And unfortunately, that's what I'm dreading. She has picked up on the vibe that I'm concerned. And I had my ex-wife come to visit so she could see her one more time. Because, we had 4 cats between us. I took care of them after we split up. And, after several years apart, we were reconciled as friends, and allowed her to visit her kitties, of course. She's the last of our kitties, and I have 2 others that I inherited from a roommate who moved to Europe. But this one cat, she's sweet. She's always been sweet and playful and adventurous. But she's picked up on the extraordinary amount of affection I've been showing her, because I realize her time is probably up, and the extraordinary amount of treats I've been feeding her. Now I've been feeding her often, trying to give her this and that to try to fatten her back up, right? And that's how if you have overactive thyroid, then one way to deal with it is just to eat a lot. So I've been feeding her treats and the best wet food I could find, gourmet quality wet food and whatever. I got her a cheeseburger last night without onions, and she got much of the cheeseburger she wanted. She loves meat, absolutely loves getting meat. At this point, I'm not. Yeah, you shouldn't be feeding your cat McDonald's. Well, you know what? That might have been her very last cheeseburger. The very last time she ever got to enjoy one. So whatever. If she's dying this afternoon, if she's going to be euthanized, then she deserves that cheeseburger. She deserves whatever the hell she wants. But she's been very stressed. She's hiding. Now that could be just a progression of her illness. If it's kidney failure, then she has to be euthanized. Just over a year ago, her brother, not blood brother, adopted brother, he was in kidney failure, and it was really bad. Like one night he just fell out of bed and he didn't get back up. He hit hard too. And then that next day he was on his way to the sandbox and he just pissed all over the floor. And was just standing in it, not knowing what the fuck to do. And then he had an attack of vaginal breathing a little bit later after I cleaned him up. And he was dying, right? And I took him to the ER. They confirmed that all his systems were failing, probably because of the kidney failure. So it was euthanasia. It's horrific, right? It's just, the animals are innocent. They don't, I know, I'm in a mix of crying and laughing here. They don't deserve to die. They don't deserve to suffer. They're innocent. I know that's not how reality works. They don't deserve to suffer. So I don't want her to end up with system failure and standing in a puddle of her own piss and agonal breathing and whatever, right? So if it's kidney failure, she has to go before she suffers like that. The most loving thing I can do is to save her inevitable suffering. And it sucks. It really sucks. It's hard having animal companions because, they are your children. And as a human, you're not really supposed to outlive your children. So when you adopt a lot of animals, it's endless heartbreak. Endless. Yeah, I'm talking about it here. Maybe it helps me feel a little bit better. Kind of pre-grieving. My ex-wife came to visit yesterday and we both cried. It's very hard. And the suck part is because this world does not reward doing the right thing, right? The universe is indifferent. It's just cause and effect, and the evil people are better at manipulating cause and effect in a ruthless way, and good people have to just, go through the motions of working with cause and effect, but there is no reward, right? I'm not going to feel good for having done the right thing. I'm just going to grieve. I'm going to suffer. And that's the universe we live in. And it has to be that way, of course. I said that in a previous video. It still sucks, though, right? If you're a person who asks why, not just how, but why, and deeply looks into why, and it's very black-pilling. So I'm going to get my paycheck, and then maybe I'll move on to another subject, because I have to upload something today to try to, I've already blew a couple days of uploads, so I got to try to get caught up. Well, got my paycheck and go to the bank. So I write. I have a novel I've been working on since 2018, on and off. I get these bursts of enthusiasm, and when I'm grief-stricken, the writing just pours out of me. So my oldest cat died. Absolutely, just pages of text came out. And then when another cat died, pages of text. And then when the cat who died last March, though, I didn't feel literate. I didn't feel literary. I felt angry. A weird combination of anger and industriousness. And then I decided, guess what? I'm going to go mow grass for people and try to do odd jobs. I was motivated by his death. Not to write, but to be industrious, which is very strange. And I would like to finish my book, because a lot of my spiritual and political views do come out in it. Not like Ayn Rand being very preachy in like Atlas Shrugged or The Fountainhead, which I think The Fountainhead was better because it's a little less preachy. But it's there, right? And it is kind of pretentious, but not too preachy, I don't think. So I would like to finish it, and the silver lining is if my cat has to be euthanized, I should be sufficiently grief-stricken that there's going to be some change. Either I'm going to write, or I'm going to be inspired to do something. I can't sit down and just grind away. I understand that a lot of writing is just grinding through the hard part, right? I am 75% through the first book, and it's supposed to be a multi-book novel. I don't think we're gonna have World War III before it's done, but I'm gonna try to finish the first book at least. And I just grind and grind and grind. And what's really bothering me is I suck at writing battle scenes. I don't want it to be just a play-by-play. It's dumb. And I listened to a few podcasts about writing battle scenes. It's about how the characters perceive things, how they grow, how they respond to challenges, how the situation impacts them. Right? I'm not writing a narrative military campaign, right? There's just a climactic battle where the people go fight these enemies, and in this fantasy world, and that's what I have to finish. And then I just have to tie up some loose ends, make sure there's no contradictions between what the characters say and what they do later and all that, and then just wrap it up and publish it, right? And if I grind away slowly, I can at that. But I find it's easier if I'm enthusiastic. And what causes enthusiasm is grief, unfortunately. But I don't know. Here I am anticipating. Well, I don't even know what's making her sick. It could be kidney failure, but people with hyperactive thyroid will also lose weight and drink a lot of water too, right? Because the body's just, in overdrive. So we'll see. No, I always knew she'd probably be the last one to go of the four. And during Rona, during the Rona, you know, I was thinking, I've suspected the older 3 cats would die in the next couple years. You know what? Next few years they did, and I thought it was gonna be me and her in an apocalyptic wasteland. Me with me pulling her in a wagon, for her, a little enclosed wagon, and whatever, an old shotgun strapped to my back, and trying to find our way. I know that's fantasy bullshit. I thought we'd be meeting the end together, and I guess we won't be. Again, that's fantasy. My mind is very imaginative. I can imagine possibilities. So, of course, part of that's just, self-generated dopamine. And again, I must say this many times, I envy the people who aren't very intelligent or imaginative and don't think very far ahead, because if the cat's sick, they're like, okay, the cat's sick, whatever. I'm not going to feel anything until the cat's diagnosed and not executed, euthanized, and then I'll cry. Okay, congratulations on just only being able to respond to what's right in front of you. That's great. I envy people who can do that. I'm going to tear the edges off the paycheck. It's one of those tear the edges off type of things. But my mind, for just about anything, calculates, multiple, branching if-then statements. Nested if this, then that, if this, then that, if that, call this subroutine, all that. My mental computer is multi-core and can run multiple simultaneous threads, and I envy the person who just has, the old 286 microprocessor up there, metaphorically speaking, then it just does one program at a time. What's the next step? Well, wherever the instruction pointer is going, that's where the next step is. There's no anticipatory execution or any of that. Just what's right in front of the machine. Must be nice. Mind you, I don't want to suffer a brain injury that reduces my intellectual capacity, but I'm acknowledging that people of reduced capacity seem to suffer less in advance. I'm sure we all suffer when we actually deal with grief, right? You find someone dead, or they pass away, or use euthanasia or whatever, if you're an animal, then yeah, we all grieve that way. All right, sign my name. Oh boy. I got another piece of mail from my employer. I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know what they just sent me. Oh, I got a little gift for Caregiver Appreciation Day. That's really nice. Is that a condom? No. Looks like a condom. Looks like a really big condom. Looks like a condom for a horse. What the hell? I'm not that big. Oh, it's tea. It's tea bags. Really nice tea bags. Okay. I'm like, well, why are you sending me a condom for? Yeah, because they had chapstick too, and a bottle of hand cream and the condoms. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Well, that just made my day. That's great. I'm glad I got to share that with you. All right. Have a good day. Bye-bye.